Don't ride at all. Never even sat on a pony. No,
Never?
No, never, never. No,
Why
I
is
maybe
that?
tell a lie. I maybe walked out the yard on one, but no, I just never ever. I don't know. I've just never ever done it.
You showed them quite a lot.
Yeah, we show them up and down the country. Yeah,
Presumably the showing is very, very important in terms of the prices they command later on.
that's right. The show ring is our shop window. You know, if we can get an odd championship or first or even seconds, people will notice them, you know, and come back, ask how much, you know.
And how successful have you been in that area?
I've been very successful, yeah. We get more and more people who just really enjoy the buzz of the show ring, you know, and the buzz of being there, having a foal born, you know, and if you speak to people, they say that's one of the best buzzes they've ever had. I would just use this as a breeding side. You know, I keep the mares here, the stallions are here. My brothers, who still have premises back in Lanark, you know, they take geldings up there. They'll break them, drive them, you know, move them on, you know. And it's but here I just keep the mares, the stallions, and a few young stock.
It's not just a horse farm here, of course. You haven't got the whole 1,000 acres devoted to horses. You've got a lot of sheep and a suckler herd too, is that right?
Yeah.
How important is the horse business in all that?
As I said, it all sort of started as a hobby, but yeah, it's a hobby that's got to pay for itself. You know, we find stud fees, grazing, you know, and selling an odd foal, we can actually just, you know, we can cover the costs.
Every year here at the farm you have an open day to coincide with the Borders Festival of the Horse,
That's
is that
right,
right?
yeah.
What's the festival all about?
It's just all different breeds of horses all over the borders and all different events.
A celebration.
So it probably is, yeah, because the border reavers, they needed their horses, you know, when they were going. So, yeah, the borders, it's a very, very strong, you know, horse-orientated area.
You have recently been elected president of the Clydesdale Society, is that right?
Correct. That's correct.
That must have been a joy for you.
It was a great honour indeed, yeah, to bestow such a position. You know, I felt really honoured indeed. That's why I enjoy the judging side of it. Is, you know, you get to different areas, you meet different people, see different horses, and I do thoroughly enjoy that. Yeah.
Tom Tennant, flying the flag for the Great Clydesdale. And from the Borders, we head south now into Yorkshire to meet a lady with a very different passion. With her husband, she runs a small holding at Oxenhope, just over the hills from Haworth in Bronte country. But it's music, not literature, that inspires her, and in particular, an instrument that echoes the mood of those lonely moors. In the heart of Bronte country, art and life seem to mix quite effortlessly. So a little poultry breeding farm that rings to the evocative strains of the harp causes little stir in these parts. One of the most ancient of instruments, it has found new expression in the hands of a remarkable musician. When she's not helping her husband with the ducks and the hens, Fiona Katie Roberts plays, restores, designs and makes harps. All that by somebody entirely self-taught. Katie, how did the interest in all things to do with harps begin for you?
Well, I was given a harp we think it was about 15 years ago, and it was just a small, little laptop harp. And I played it straight away. And 6 weeks later, I was asked to play in public, and the phone just kept ringing. But I needed bigger and better harps.
You played it straight away?
Almost, yes.
I would have thought it was an extremely difficult instrument to get used to.
Well, I'm a pianist, so that helped. So instead of doing that, you're suddenly doing that. And I only had 19 strings on the first one. But no, I loved it. And funnily enough, it wasn't an ambition I'd had from a child. It was a complete surprise as a present.
But when you got that first harp into your hands, it was love at first sight, was it?
It was indeed. It was, yes.
And where did you take it from there?
Well, I got another bigger harp, and then I discovered historically there were triple harps. I mean, the first two harps that I had just have one set of strings, and straight away the mathematician in me, the scientist in me, I wanted more strings. I wanted to be fully chromatic and have the black notes as well as the white note. So first of all, I actually started playing two harps together, and I put a bit of blue tack down the middle because otherwise they'd clang together and it was terrible. Then I set on a search to get my first triple harp, and that ended up in Wales because it's the Welsh national harp, is the triple harp.
Then you decided to take it a stage further, didn't you?
Yes, I actually had a dream, as you do. I desperately needed and wanted a modern harp. I was desperate for a certain sound, had this sound in my head all the time, and I composed. So I knew exactly what I wanted, but I couldn't buy it anywhere. I don't even think it was being made. And I thought, how am I going to make a harp? Because I had no joinery skills at all. So the first initial dream was, think Meccano harp. And I actually made it out of a shelving unit, metal shelving unit. I've restored quite a few and certainly restrung quite a lot for people as well. I'm now sort of playing 3 times a week. Private parties, weddings, all sorts of different things, playing in public.
Here we are in your huge living room, surrounded by harps of all shapes and sizes. Can you just give me an idea what there is?
Well, I've 26 harps now, and if we start with the smaller ones, I've got a few laptop harps. Some of them are single strung. I've got a copy of an old Irish harp. I've got some of the little ones that I've made that are useful. So if the bride wants to get married down at the lake at the bottom of the garden and you can't carry a huge harp down, they're useful for that. And then the next step, I've got harps that a lot of them are out with pupils to sort of kickstart their interest in harp. They don't have to buy one straight away. And I've got traditional looking harps, and then I've got the whole modern harps. I even play with a rock band actually as well.
Now, the next harp we want to talk about is very different from all that. It looks like an aluminium sculpture. It's your triple harp.
It's actually called Big Al, as in aluminium. It was nicknamed Big Al, and it's quite well known as Big Al. It's angle. I think they just call it angle. They use it for aluminium and steel fabrication. It's quite unusual to get an aluminium harp, and it's a lovely tone.
Why did you decide to build it like that?
I wanted a light harp. I actually thought it would be lighter than it was, being in aluminium. It's still lighter than the wooden harps. And the tone, it does have this metallic sort of tone to it. So no, it was purposely built like that, and I love it, yeah.
And what is that good for playing?
That one, I do a lot as the Snow Queen. They like to have me themed weddings as the Snow Queen with Big Al. I do a lot of after dinner speaking with Big Al. They see Fiona, Katie and Big Al. They think Big Al's going to be some builder or something that comes along with me, and it's a harp. So I think people find it amazing that it's a harp. It's a laugh.
What sort of music is it good for?
It's got oomph. It's got the bass. It's got the bass that rocks the floor. most people would make a harp, they tend to think of them as a family heirloom.
Something
And I
that
mean,
looks beautiful.
They're fabulous. They're probably close to. They're far better than my harps. My harps are very good from 10 feet, but that's where my husband Dave's coming in, because he's going to make me my first proper harp ever. So for the first time ever, I will have a proper harp built with no roofing bolts showing at the top and chocolate box ribbons on them. To be lovely, yeah. I was playing in the Black Bull in Haworth one Easter Sunday, and there was a bit of trouble, and the landlord threw everybody out and he left 5 people in. And I looked at these 5 people, and to be honest, I thought, well, I'd have thrown they looked a bit rough, but they got out tin whistles and guitars, and we had an hour and a half of playing the most amazing music. And at the end, this chap stands up and he says, "You don't know who I am, do you?" I went, "No." And he says, "I'm Axl Rose, and this is the full band of Guns N' Roses." And then the same thing happened in America. I'm sat down playing at an Irish pub in Boston, where my sister lives. And it turns out to be Led Zepp, Page and Plant. And they actually invited me to tour with them. But I couldn't do it because I couldn't get a babysitter.
Fiona Katie Roberts and her distinctive harps. Of course, all fine craftspeople like to put their own individual stamp on the items they fashion. The subjects of our next story come from Whitby, an association that's reflected in their work as cabinet makers. But as I discovered, the father and son partnership has been achieved in rather a roundabout way. Straddling the River Esk, the village of Russup, location of a workshop that represents a life-changing family decision. After 25 years in the pub trade, Dave Gibson set up in business here with his son Roy, who had won accolades for his furniture design.
You see a lot of disasters, don't you, when people come out of pubs when they've been in it for a long time. You know, sometimes they come out without any money at all, sometimes they come out with bad health. You hear quite a lot of disasters, more probably than successes, but it's worked out well for us.
It was quite a gamble. My father was a publican at the time, just prior to us opening up the workshop, and we simply didn't know how it was going to go, but we thought we'd sign up for 3 years and give it our best shot, and haven't looked back since. When
Roy entered the Woodworker of the Year competition in his last year at uni, and he was going around the pub saying, "I've won! I can't believe it! I've won!" You know, it was quite amazing. So to win that award and get £1,500 worth of machinery was a real boost to us, a really good start. Had one thing in common: we wanted to produce our own range of furniture and make it out of real timber to the design that people required, you know, to make what they want, to make it fit into where they wanted it to fit. The type of furniture we're making, you can pass it on to your grandchildren. You know, it's not going to devalue in that respect, so that's what we wanted to make.
Well, there was only one way to pitch ourselves. It was aim for the upper end of the market and make sure that we always produce the absolute best that we possibly could out of the finest materials. There was simply no way we'd be able to compete with the mass-produced market. So that was the only way we could see as making a healthy business.
Got to be honest, it was my idea to put Whitby Jet into the furniture because, you know, everybody's heard of the Mouse Man, and there's the Gnome Man and the Beaver Man and just about every other creature that lives in the woods man. But we wanted to do something which would give a quality to the furniture that was a good quality.
So we decided that we'd produce our own range as well as doing the bespoke stuff as well, where we inlaid it with ebony and Whitby Jet, because the two went very well together, being the same colour. And then we decided we'd use an overall material that was a subtle contrast that would emphasise the beauty of the jet, which was American white maple, which is a nice light creamy colour, which obviously contrasts very well with the blackness of the jet and the ebony.
The jet, which is like a semi-precious stone, it means something about this area, and it means something about the quality of the goods that you're putting into it, because you wouldn't put something as valuable as jet into something that didn't deserve it. I think we get on as well as any father and son would. We work very well together here. I acknowledge that he is overall in charge of the finishing of the products.
Smash it,
Got
thanks.
some little pearls of Whitby jet for us, I think.
Just get them for you.
He's taught me a lot and still teaches me things each week of better ways of doing things. In fact, we learn together. You know, all the time. We never stop learning. There's better ways of doing things, which is another thing that makes the job so interesting. It's good. When we go back home, because he still lives with us, because he can't afford a house of his own, we accept that I'm in charge at home. He's well, some of the time.
My father was definitely classified as the chief machinist. He, which I dare I say is the labour-intensive work. He's he certainly does his fair share of that, and I tend to do more of the designing and some of the tricky craft sides. But we even saying that we still swap and change. I mean, depending on who's who's getting a bit weary from machining timber up, we'll just choose on the day.
And what's the thought behind your designs? Have you got one particular sort of theme in mind all the time?
Yeah, well, we call it the neo-shaker style, which is just it's very similar to the shaker style, which is just flat and very plain, but just with subtle 45-degree angle around the edges, which just give the furniture an extra smooth feel to it.
The pub trade, you had money coming in every day, but I always used to say that the only money you got was, you know, if you split a pint up, you only got the froth on the top. That was your profit. That was everything else was somebody else's. Whereas with this, once you've bought the timber, the rest is for your work and skill, and you get paid for that. So at the end of the day, the money that you earn is yours, and it's you know, apart from what the taxman takes off all of us, that's the rest is yours. Whereas in the pub, everybody got the opinion that you had lots of money because you always had a, you know, yesterday's takings in your back pocket, and there was always money there. I probably still miss that about the trade, but in this one, you don't have any money in your pockets. It's but you've got plenty of timber. You can keep warm.
I know it's all been hard work up to now, but what is the satisfaction you get out of it?
Well, it's the joy of seeing the customers when the reactions to the finished products. It really spurs you on and makes you feel good about yourself.
You've done a job well done.
Yes, that's right. Pat on the back always goes down very well.
Dave and Roy Gibson and their Whitby jet furniture. And that, I'm afraid, brings us to the end of our travels for another week. We'll be back next time with, among other items, a widow's story of an extraordinary artistic lifestyle and her monumental labour of love in memory of a remarkable husband. But for me, for now, goodbye.
To enjoy Dale's Diary DVDs, log on to our website or phone 0191 230 8091.